Good evening. I wasn't there today, but I seen the protest in Clonmel, or the march, or whatever you want to call it, whatever tag or label you want to put on it. And positive stuff. You know, the lads in Clonmel got together a few weeks ago, and obviously they didn't have a massive turnout. Today I would consider that in comparison to the previous times of gathering in the town, it was a pretty significant group of people that came and walked around the town, through the town, pointing out and stopping at some of the locations where these iPads people are being scheduled to be put into. And it was nice. Irish flags, kids, men, grown men, families, lovely stuff. All getting together because they share the same concerns and they share the same sentiment and feeling that what is going on currently in Ireland is impalatable. It's not palatable to them. They don't wish it, they don't welcome it, they don't want it, okay? That's the golden side or the silver side of the lining, okay? So the sad part about all of that is I was watching the videos and looking at it and smiling because it was lovely and nice, but also being cognizant of what's going on in the rest of Ireland. You can see it in the encounters between the lads in Tala and the guards. Friction, disdain for an oath. I'll talk about that more tomorrow, the Tala thing, but you can see it previously in Newtown Mount Kennedy. You had groups of locals kneeling on the floor, on the ground, praying and being confronted by these public order units, whatever you want to call them, units, mobs. And also in Ballyogle as well, the other place in Dublin, where chaos, like horrendous scenes you're seeing there, horrendous scenes. And you're thinking, looking at the lovely, because it's a great feeling of getting together with people, because how long ago has it been since we've all done that, you know, COVID notwithstanding and all that other nonsense. But it's a beautiful feeling to get together with people for the same reasons, and to be chiming in together coherently with each other, and to listen to people speak. Listen to people who you know, you're familiar with their face, you see them around, and now you hear their voice. Now you hear their heart and their thoughts, and it's lovely. But again, I couldn't help myself from watching it and thinking, and this is just a terrible testament of where we are in Ireland at the moment, that I'm watching this lovely occasion of what being human is really about, banding together with people that are from your tribe and your locality, and aiming at something that you all feel to be true and honest and honourable, and aiming at that. But also, in the back of my mind, I'm looking at it and thinking, and I'll get to the point now, sorry, that enjoy the nice moments, because the way things are going around this country, from the political class, NGOs, split the difference, from the way the Gardaí are carrying themselves, the way the media is carrying themselves, the way local councillors, all the way down, all the way up and down. Barristers, you've seen this especially from 2019 up to now. Barristers, solicitors, people that work in the justice system had absolutely nothing to say about human rights being trampled all over. So I'd be being probably naive to assume that those same cast of characters would all of a sudden develop a moral and social conscience and come out and challenge the behaviour of some of these authorities, right? So I'm looking at today and I'm going, lovely, beautiful stuff. Numbers are growing. Families are going to be speaking about this probably as I speak about this now. And I'm thinking, savour these lovely moments, because what's coming next is going to be carnage. The government, whoever you want to decide calls the shots there, it doesn't really matter, like, because you've people that are willing to go, I'll deliver that, I'll sign that piece of paper, and I'll condone this action from my office, not around my house though, but from my office to your house. I'm okay with that. And I'm thinking, this system that is pushing this plantation, this human trafficking, this soakage of foreign elements into the country and dropping them right in the middle of your village, town, city, house next. I'm thinking that's not letting up. It shows absolutely no signs of letting up. The words that are being spoken by the politicians echo that. Their actions and their words are perfectly unified, except for pre-election sophistry. We'll stop that now. We'll hire jet planes. We'll hire planes, and we'll ship these people back. Lies. Hasn't happened. Lies. Demonstrably provable. Lies. Okay? So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I'm seeing kids smiling with flags, and when was the last time they done that? Beautiful. But those kids probably don't know and aren't aware that their parents are probably going to have to stand up there at some building construction site or some site that is scheduled to be taken in these massive iPass centres or these tent cities. And there's a strong likelihood that their parents are going to be battered by the Gardaí and these public order units. A lot of them that are shipped down from, technically, a foreign country. You know? They're crossing the border in terms of geopolitical divides. Ireland here and the north of Ireland, whatever your sentiment around the ethnic cohesion of the peoples, technically it's a foreign country. So you have guards that are coming down, or you've PSNI that are coming down from a foreign country into Ireland, putting on their pyjamas and pretending to be Gardaí, and they are battering people. They are battering people. They are breaking the law. They're in their faces. They're intimidating them. And then when a person says, "Will you get away from me?" Bang, public order. You're getting dragged around, kicking and screaming, and thrown in the back of a paddy wagon. And we can see the videos to this stuff. Do you know what people might have known for years and years and years about what certain people can do when they're in positions of power? Ireland is finding out now, and there's a strong likelihood that the vast majority of this country are going to reach a precipice where they decide, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I'm not accepting this. It doesn't matter which window we knock at, what door we knock at, who we call to see to say, can you please hear our side of it? Can you please stand for us? Echo. Just bounce off the walls, come back to you. There's no response. There's no official response from these people that show any interest in backing the Irish people. So the Irish people need to back themselves. And my point in all this is to say, lovely moment today in Clonmel, and I hope it's mirrored throughout the rest of the country, as I'm sure it is in other places. I just haven't seen it. But also, the sky greys again, and it's darkening again, and there's a storm coming, because these people that are out marching today and talking today, in the next few weeks they're probably going to be standing face to face with a riot squad, essentially. And you've significant choices to make at that point, because your physical well-being is being put in danger through no fault of your own, just because you don't want something to happen, and it's been forced on you regardless. If ever there was a time to look up and say, you know what, maybe we've been herded into this pen, and maybe we've become the farm animals of some farmer, because that's what it's like. You get branded, you get corralled, you get beaten, you get shouted at, you get dragged off and kidnapped, essentially, thrown in the back of a van and whisked off to somewhere to be questioned, probably beaten, and then up in court the next morning for just because you don't want something. Is this what you want? Is this the Ireland that you want? Because I have no interest in that. I have absolutely no interest in that. And the government that's in power now, for however long that is, hopefully not too long more, but those that are in power now, and all the machinations that support and spur this devourer of freedom on, they're relentless. They're relentless. They're not going to stop. They want what they want. They're probably blackmailed and compromised, and they have to go along with it. It's either that or they're just downright cruel. And they will plough ahead, and they will use whatever weapons and force and authority and power and brutality that they can muster. So the question is to you, Irishman. What say you? What is your response to that? And also, not so much, there's 1,500 reasons why you should go and participate in these things and should go and stand up for your town and your people and your family and your country and yourself. There's loads of reasons for that. But the interesting thing for all of us to contemplate over the next few weeks and right now and tomorrow and all that follows is, why wouldn't I get involved? And if I'm to not get involved, what is the fallout of that? What are the lingering consequences of me not getting active and not standing up for what I believe to be right? You know? So some serious soul searching is going on, not just in myself or the people I know, but I think in the whole country, in the country as a whole. You know, we've been beaten and put down for centuries, if not a millennia, right? So that's ingrained in us. But the lives we lived before that, the lives our ancestors lived prior to colonization, or prior to being dominated by a Roman church or an English crown or an EU flag or whatever the case is, that's still in us. And I think you're starting to feel that, I certainly am myself, that you're starting to feel that little bit of, if you know what I mean. What about it? What about it? Is civilization worth it? As Freud asked the question, like, is civilization worth the death of each individual person? Where you sacrifice your own personal values and beliefs for the sake of society. You know, and what we're being offered now is a new form of society that's been irreparably, at this rate, changed and altered without our consent. Unless, of course, you buy into the idea that our silence on the matter is a consent. You know? But I'll finish on this then. The only way of finding out how brave and bold you are and how powerful you are as an individual and the people around you, and us as Irish people, what have we got left in the tank, so to speak, the only way of finding that out is to put yourself in situations where you have to stand up for yourself. You just have to. You're not going to stand there and let people beat you just because of the colour of their uniforms, or just because they have a tag, or just because you've a strong feeling that they'll get away with exactly they'll get away with exactly what it is that they're going to do, as we're seeing throughout the country. You know? So the fear of jail is one of them, a massive one. That if I so much as look askance at these public order units, then they'll arrest me and I go to jail. We need to get familiar with the law and the rules that apply to these guards, because it's not a case of they can do what they want. They're allowed to do what they want. They operate outside of the law. They absolutely do not. They're bound by the same legalities as we are. And not only that, they're also bound by their own oaths. We swore no oath to them. I swore no oath to the Gardaí. The only oath that the Irish people collectively have in terms of the Gardaí is policing by consent. We allow ye have these jobs and kind of manage certain things in terms of the culture and society for the sake of well-being and peace and minimal crime. But as soon as you start abusing that power and that oath and your office, that consent is automatically withdrawn. It is for me. And I think the guards need to hear this from people. We no longer consent to you brutalising people because you're too cowardly to say, I'm not doing that job. We no longer consent to the idea of you bringing in foreign mercenaries to come down here and pound skulls with batons. Absolutely not. And we no longer consent to living under the boot of any sort of authority or tyranny. And until that day comes, my smile is gone. So, but seriously, a lovely day. What comes next? And what will you do next?